Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. Coming up, if you know someone that doesn't want the Las Vegas Raiders to hire Antonio Pierce, I want you to send them this video. I am so confident that AP is the right man for the job, and I need the nation to all be on board. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm done of the bickering, the yelling on social media, arguing about this guy and this guy. At the end of the day, I just want commitment to excellence. I just want to win, baby, and I want the Raiders to get back to the ultimate goal. Commitment to excellence and hoisting that Lombardi trophy. So here's my pledge. I promise by the end of this video, you're going to be more confident in the Raiders hiring Antonio Pierce if you already weren't on that board. So here's my thing. If you know somebody out there that's not sold on AP, I want you to share this video on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Facebook, tag me at Mitchell Renz 365 and send it to them. I want the word to get out there. I want people to know that the nation want to hire AP. I want Mark Davis to know that we want to hire AP. We have a platform. We have the ability to give our perception. We have the ability to have our voices be heard. One Raider fan is loud. Thousands of Raider fans is deafening. So let's get it going. So remember, y'all, we are here on the Raider Report by Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show is why I am so confident and why I need the Raiders fans out there to believe in AP if you don't already believe in him. First reason is this. The defense improved and was elite. Like, if I'm going to look at a head coach, if I'm going to look at a head coach like AP, who's a defensive-minded guy, I'm going to look at the defensive side of the football. With Antonio Pierce and Patrick Graham, the Raiders allowed 16.0 points per game, which over that time span, so from week 9 till the end of the season, was number 1 in the National Football League. The Las Vegas Raiders entering the season spent the second least amount of money on defense this year. So you're telling me that not only the Raiders not spend on free agency, did they not only spend on money, their head coach got fired, and the defense finished the season as the number 1 defense in the NFL? Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. But I got hit with this on social media. Don't hit me with, Mitch, they played a bunch of backup quarterbacks. Breaking news. Every NFL team played against a bunch of backup quarterbacks this season. Only 9 quarterbacks started every single game this season. So I don't want to hear they played backup QBs excuse. Every NFL team played a bunch of backup QBs excuse. The Raiders defense got better, and it got to a point where it was good to elite to arguably the best defense in the NFL, where they didn't spend any money with Patrick Graham and Antonio Pierce. That sounds like it's a pretty damn good thing to me. I got 4 more reasons coming up here on the show of why the nation, and I need the whole nation here to be behind going out and supporting Antonio Pierce. If you want AP to be the head coach, hit that subscribe button. If you don't want AP to be the head coach, hear me out. Watch this entire video, and if by the end of it you're still not sold, it's all good. I'm not going to hate on you for it. But if you watch at the end of it, and if you just leave with a little bit of, all right, I'm kind of around it a little bit more, subscribe. We're pumping out a lot of content the entire offseason. Let's go to the next reason here. We do say just win, baby, right? Did the Raiders win games? Yes, they did. Underneath Antonio Pierce, they went 5-4. That is a winning record. And I'm not sitting up here saying 5-4, like that's what we're pushing for every year. But considering the fact of where the Raiders were underneath Josh McDaniels and how hopeless and pathetic and terrible the Silver and Black looked after their 30-12 loss to the Bears, after their 26-14 loss to the Lions, this team got better. You beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas in a primetime game. Not only did you beat them, you embarrassed them. Like, you had 2 defensive touchdowns. It's the worst game, arguably, of Patrick Mahomes' career. And in my book, if I'm going to hire a head coach, guess what I want? I want a head coach that I know can beat Patrick Mahomes. Well, he's already shown it. I want a head coach that can defeat the teams in my division. 3-1 against the AFC West, right? So you go 3-1 against the AFC West. You beat the Broncos. You beat the Chargers. You beat the Chiefs. Sure, you lost to Kansas City the first time, but you beat them the second time. You learned from your mistakes. You got better. Imagine if he had an offense that wasn't built by the dummy. Imagine if he had a quarterback that wasn't constructed by Josh McDaniels. I think his record would be a lot better. Do we not agree? And I'm so sick and tired of Raider fans being like, but Mitch, the Raiders offense only scored 3 points against the Vikings. Mitch, the Raiders offense didn't get better with Antonio Pierce. No shit, it didn't. No shit, it did. I mean, blaming the Raiders' struggles on offense with Antonio Pierce is like you go into a restaurant, okay? And the waiter does a phenomenal job, but the chef made a bad meal that you were looking forward to, and you don't tip the waiter. That's what you're doing right now to Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce is working his ass off, bussing tables, waiting out all these, and he's doing a hell of a job. But you're not going to give him a tip because the chef messed up your food? That's the comparison. And if you don't think it is, wake the hell up, man. Coming up here, more reasons to why you need to believe in Antonio Pierce and why he is the right man for this job. He might not be right for every job, but he's the right man for this job, and that's all I care about. Also, what I care about is I am super excited. Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be out in Las Vegas for Super Bowl weekend. So if you're going to be out there, let me know. Let's link up. Let's have a time. But we're going to be out there. We're probably going to be going to a Las Vegas Knights game. My bottom line is this. I know that we're going to be out to Vegas. Chuggs and I have already started looking at events. We've already started looking at concerts, comedy. Tom Segura is going to be out there that weekend. We're going to be finding things to do. And if you know that you're planning a trip, well, how about this? Download the Game Time app right now. Use code RaidersChat for $20 off. Obviously, terms apply. Create an account. Redeem code RaidersChat for $20 off. Download Game Time today for last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. And the reason why I love this is because when I go to Vegas, I don't try to plan out too much. To me, I look at it as I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to try to have a good time. I know I'm going to be there during the weekend. I'm pretty sure my dad's going to be there the weekend as well. So we're going to go out. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Might go to an event. Maybe we go to the Sphere. Maybe we go to a comedy event. You want to go to something that's under $50. I don't know about you. I like saving money. Whether you want to go to a lacrosse game, a college basketball game, a minor league hockey game. I think that's what it's called. Bottom line is Game Time has tons of deals out there for you to be able to occupy yourself and occupy the people that you're with. But the reason why I love Game Time the most is it's an app designed to help you save money and create memories. Sign me up for that every single day of the week, 365, 366 this year. So one more time here, that link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. Download the Game Time app. Use code RaidersChat for $20 off. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's go to the next thing here. The team showed discipline. Not only did the Raiders play a high-level caliber of defense, but they were a disciplined football team, a team that showed you on and off the field. They listened to Antonio Pierce. The Raiders were the least penalized team in the National Football League. 75 penalties the entire season. 2 out of the 9 games that AP coached, the Raiders had 0 penalties. The Las Vegas Raiders, underneath Antonio Pierce, were just the 7th team since 1960 to have 2 games in the regular season with 0 penalties. My point is this. I think good head coaches do certain things. And 2 out of the 9 games, the Raiders did something that only 7 teams have done since 1960. The last time that a team did it was, guess who? The 2013 New England Patriots. So they had some pretty good teams last time I checked. But the other thing is this. Josh McDaniels blew 5 leads of 10+. Why? Certain coaches trend in certain ways. Other coaches trend in other ways. For an interim head coach to get the amount of respect that he is getting in that locker room without even being the head coach yet, imagine when he is the head coach. That's a disciplined football team, and it's because a lot of the things that Pierce is preaching and the players are listening. When he talks, players listen. Let's go to the last one here. Not last one, one of the last ones. Players believe in him. And whether you like to think that or not, players believing in a head coach is important. Guys are going to show up on Sunday, and if you don't have players that show up on Sunday, then honestly, they don't even deserve to be in the NFL. But I want dudes that are Max Crosby that show up on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, first guy in, last guy to leave mentality. Guess what? I have talked to multiple players, and the amount of participation and the amount of extra work ethic that went in on off days during the team practices when Antonio Pierce took over, it was very, very noticeable. If Max Crosby is willing to say that he is okay with the idea of being traded if the Raiders don't keep AP, that should be screaming from the rooftops, holy shit, we got to hire Antonio Pierce. For Devontae Adams to say that he wants to keep AP, and, this is not a normal situation. You brought in a cancer, Josh McDaniels. You brought in a cancer the Patriot way with the Raiders. I mean, it's like trying to force a vegan to try to eat nothing but cheeseburgers the rest of their life. Like, that's what Mark Davis did. Well, guess what? I'm not going to go that route anymore. Like, you have to stay on course. You have to keep Antonio Pierce because this team dealt with all the bullshit that you put them through the last 2 years. You can't have them go down that path. You had a God complex guy in Josh McDaniels that thought everything he said was right. And I'm telling you what, I don't care if you're a professional athlete. I don't care if you're a millionaire. If every day you walk into work, every day you walk into your profession, something that you feel like that you are very passionate about, and you know that the guy that's in charge doesn't give a shit about anything that you say, how do you get motivated to play for that guy? The players want AP, and the fact that players are reaching out to reporters like a Hondo Carpenter, the fact that players are reaching out to content creators like Graf, myself, Wasted. I've seen text, I've seen messages. The players want Antonio Pierce, and the reason why I'm okay with it in this situation is because of what happened with Josh McDaniels. If it was a brand new situation where Josh McDaniels wasn't such a cancer and players were speaking up the way that they were, I'd be like, well, let's pull up the brakes here a little bit. But because of what happened, this is the reaction to it. The Raiders do not want Mark to make the wrong decision, and they're so confident in AP that that's why they're doing what they're doing. I got one more reason here of why the Raiders need to hire AP and why, if you're a fan out there that's not sold on the idea of hashtag HireAP, I need you to listen up right now. You got Kansas City Chiefs up against the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to be live. Chugs and I, we're going to be live here on the Raiders Report. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. The giveaways, the deals, the fun that we're going to have for this game, I promise you, you're not going to want to miss it. Let's go to the last one here. He's the most proven. And this is the one that's probably going to upset the most people out there that are screaming Jim Harbaugh. For the people out there that are screaming for Mike Vrabel. For anybody that's screaming Antonio Pierce. Because the only reason that I can wrap my mind around why somebody doesn't want AP is because his resume isn't like a lot of these other coaches. So I'm going to give you this quote right here. And I want you to really think about this quote. It is a fact that Antonio Pierce is the most proven head coach for this current Raiders team. Every single coach at one point was not experienced enough for the job. So were all of you. So was I. I am willing to give Antonio Pierce a chance. Nobody knows who is going to have the most success. I am just trusting my eyes, gut, heart, and it is telling me to hashtag HireAP. Now, I know that might not make sense to a lot of people out there, but what is so confident? And I get it. Harbaugh's won everywhere he's gone. Mike Vrabel's done a hell of a job where he's gone. But I kind of laugh out loud at times when people are like, oh, but these coaches are more proven. How are they more proven? They've never worked with this current regime. They've never worked with this team here. And if you're saying they're more proven, cool. But also know that if you bring in those guys, you're going to tear it down. And then you're going to build something totally, totally new. Like Antonio Pierce with this current team proved to you last year that he was able to build a Super Bowl caliber defense where you weren't spending any money with a team that was first started by Josh McDaniels and an offense that was started by Josh McDaniels. I mean, what if, crazy idea, we let him bring in his own guy? What if the defense still stays the same? And what if you're able to fix the offense? That's a Super Bowl caliber team right there with the head coach that they're playing for. Like, coaches that remind me of Antonio Pierce. Chugs, if you could show it. The coaches that remind me of AP are a lot of leaders, right? Like guys that are just different tone setters. Guys like Dan Campbell. Guys like Mike Tomlin. Guys like D'Amico Ryans. Guys like Gerard Mayo. Mike Vrabel. Like people play for Dan Campbell. People listen to Mike Tomlin. People respect D'Amico Ryans and Gerard Mayo because they're players, they've been there before. And teams play their freaking ass off for Mike Vrabel. To me, I think all the qualities of why I like Antonio Pierce because he's a leader of men. Something that Josh McDaniels was never. AP has that leader of men quality, which all these guys have. I get it. Mike Vrabel's not a coach anymore, but he's won Coach of the Year. Dan Campbell's done a hell of a job. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season in 17 years. D'Amico Ryans has the Texans play the best football I've ever seen. Gerard Mayo's taken over for Bill Belichick. Bottom line is this. AP has that it factor. It might not be on a resume, but you know what? Josh McDaniels had a good resume as an OC. I want to bet on a guy that when I look at him, motivates me. And if he motivates me and he motivates the nation the way that he does, guess what he's doing to the players? he's motivating them as well. So here's how I'm going to end this show. Hire AP.